Hey guys, Eugene Mulero here with Transport Topics and with my colleague Jonathan Reiskin, Associate News Editor at Transport Topics. And this is an exciting week on Capitol Hill for trucking because tomorrow, Wednesday, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee is going to host a roundtable with the leading stakeholders in the trucking industry. They include American Trucking Association's senior officials, as well as members of OIDA, CVSA, and others. And Jonathan, this is unique because pretty much this is the transportation panel's trucking hearing where they're going to look at the provisions in the 2015 FAST Act related to motor carrier rules. And these include the streamlining of the CSA's performance scoring program, as well as provisions to improve the rulemaking process at FMCSA. So pretty much what I'll be looking for is what kind of feedback or pushback the transportation leaders will offer the stakeholders, and of course what the stakeholders, primarily ATA, has to share with the panel.
It's interesting on these things, Eugene. Obviously, the big thing in FAST Act was the cash, an enormous amount for transportation, but these bills are always larded up with various proposals saying Congress wants FMCSA to accomplish various things. And sometimes these provisions have to be tested. For instance, not too long ago, CVSA, which represents the commercial vehicle safety inspectors for trucks and buses, came back in talking about a half-hour rest break provision, saying this is very hard to enforce for us. We don't know, we can tell if a truck has not been running for half an hour, but we don't know if there's been a rest or break. So it can be very useful to have the inspection community who checks against the policies. They're great policies for the future on how things ought to be, but as to how they can actually work, this is an interesting bit of testing and useful that goes on.
And even though I've been poking around about this roundtable, and some of the staffers and the people who will be speaking at the roundtable have been telling me it's going to be somewhat low-key, it's going to be more of a listening, hearing session. I actually expect that there's going to be some talk about hours of service, and opponents of doing away with the new hours of service rules are likely to come up and maybe stir the pot. So these venues are ones that can be a sort of a open mic for any critics of trucking.
It's a good chance for people on the House committee to learn. We'll see if they learn or speechify.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have from the FDA, we have a final rule that pertains to the trucking industry.
Indeed. Normally we look to the Department of Transportation and FMCSA for trucking rules, maybe NHTSA on the vehicles themselves, but this time it's Health and Human Services and the Food and Drug Administration that's talking about the safe transportation of food. Not so much dry goods or canned goods, dry goods, but things that need to be refrigerated or frozen. There's a big push to improve the safety on these. Interestingly enough, our colleague Eric Miller found that it doesn't really affect things, for instance, if they're going to Mexico from Canada or vice versa. It's only for stuff within the United States, but this will create a lot of record keeping for refrigerated carriers, who are the big transporters of these commodities, who will have to get together with their shippers and the people who accept the freight, the consignees. This is going to take some time for planning to get it done right, so that all parties know what the other is doing and carrying out their responsibilities under the new rule, which is a final one.
That's right. And speaking of rules, it's going to be a busy spring and summer in the rulemaking for the trucking industry. GHG is going to be coming out sometime in the summer. and as well as the safety fitness determination. So we're going to have updates on those rulemakings as well as other regulations.
Yeah, safety fitness should be particularly interesting. A lot of people want a thumbs up, thumbs down judgment, a very easy judgment as compared to relying on raw CSA scores. So this is going to be a hotly contested, tightly watched regulation.
That's right, and we're still waiting for the Senate to take a quick vote on the nomination of Scott Darling to be administrator at the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. So any minute now that could happen. Jonathan, thank you, and please tune in on Tuesdays for Capitol Agenda at ttnews.com.